I got to think the rain and stuff is a vortex.
Newsmaker Focus, www.globalnewsmakerfocus.com, to our interview taping and first broadcast this December 17th, 2014, with our guest Alex Ganadinik, successful entrepreneur, marketer, software engineer, and author. This interview discussion will be broadcast again this Saturday, December 20th, at the program's regular time at 11 p.m. Eastern. There will be a continuation, a second interview. This will run about 40 to 45 minutes. Global Newsmaker Focus, with co-hosts Vernell and Patrice, is broadcast on United Public Radio and UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans, Louisiana, and 107.9 FM and 105.3 FM, Henderson, Pass Christian, Mississippi. As mentioned, our guest tonight is Alex Ganadinik, successful entrepreneur, marketer, software engineer, and author. Alex's business books available at Amazon.com include Business and Startup Ideas, a comprehensive guide, step-by-step guide on how to go from business ideas to starting a successful business. Next book, Mobile App Marketing and Monetization, how to promote mobile apps like a pro. Learn to promote and monetize your Android or iPhone app. Next, Business and Startup Ideas, a comprehensive guide on business and startup ideas, first edition. Next book, Marketing Plan and Strategies to Reach 1 Million People, Marketing Strategies That Work. Next book, Facebook Marketing for Business. Learn what you can expect from promoting your business with Facebook marketing. Next book, 10 Fundraising Ideas and Strategies, fundraising strategies to raise money for your business. And last, How to Get Publicity, 12 strategies, how to get publicity and media coverage for your business. Alex is the creator of the successful Problemio, P-R-O-B-L-E-M-I-O business apps at www.Problemio.com, among the top mobile apps for those planning to start their business, with 300,000 plus downloads across iOS, Android, and Kindle. The apps created by Alex come as a 4-app course covering business ideas, how to write a business plan, marketing, and how to raise money for your business. The course is based on the successful experience of 300,000 entrepreneurs. Now there are more than 500,000 people who have downloaded his apps. Alex also has personally coached over 1,000 entrepreneurs. Alex's business blog can be found at www.glowingstart.com. His YouTube channel on business can be accessed at youtube.com/user, U-S-E-R, /OKUDJAVAVICH, Okujavadich. Alex has created over 15 different online courses to learn about different aspects of planning, starting and growing your business at www.udemy.com/U/Alex Ganadinik. Alex, welcome to the program. We are honored to have you as a guest to discuss your business expertise and findings to help entrepreneurs be as successful as possible.
Well, thank you for having me. That was quite an intro. Thank you.
Yes, hello, Alex. This is our co-host for now. We're here live in Arizona. We are really pleased that you were able to join us this evening, and we look forward to all of this informative information. I'm excited just listening to what you've done already.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I think we'll have fun.
I think so, too. Now, Alex, I would like to discuss the importance and capability of the business apps that you have created to be used with your Problemio, Problemio program. That website, again, being www.problemio.com. You know, 300,000 entrepreneurs have used your apps to develop their businesses. Now I know that actually 500,000 plus entrepreneurs have used your apps. Wow.
Yeah, although, it pales in comparison to things like Angry Birds, right? Because they have maybe 100 million. So I guess it's all relative.
Well, Alex, your material, both the website and the course material I've seen and your videos, offer very pragmatic and innovative ideas for the entrepreneur. Tell us about your App Business Starting Series. Am I correct that your App Business Starting Series focuses on business planning, business ideas, marketing, fundraising?
Yeah, you're 100% correct. So there's actually a fascinating story behind these apps. When I first was learning how to make mobile apps, I started out as a software developer. It was just kind of a way for me to try out different business ideas myself, and then I kind of created some basic tools for people to start their own businesses, and it was just one app at that time. And then one interesting thing I did was I allowed people to ask me questions right on the app. So people were asking me all kinds of questions about starting a business. And the people didn't know that, they were repeating the questions, but the questions kept on repeating, and it was mainly people were having challenges with four kind of trouble areas. And they were exactly some people had trouble with, just getting ideas, or they were having trouble, getting past the idea stage. Some people are having trouble planning their business and creating a good strategy, and almost everyone asked about raising money at some point. And then people who started, they needed marketing. So that's actually how the four course series was born, because that's actually it's not something I thought up. It's actually something that many entrepreneurs kind of were struggling, and I was helping them with. So it's really just it's born out of their questions.
No, that's an excellent strategy there, pardon me, to respond to the entrepreneur's needs there. Your business idea app gives very useful advice. That's also that Problemio.com site. And I like that video on business idea mistakes and bad business ideas for the would-be entrepreneur to pursue. That was very helpful.
Oh yeah. I mean, and the mistakes they come right out of the apps, because some people there's a feature you can plan privately, but some people can get help, and so I see a lot of different business plans, and I get a lot of questions, and so the questions, the mistakes they come right out of the entrepreneurs who didn't set their plans to private. Of course, I don't mention their names or their specific businesses, but the general types of mistakes are, it's from real world.
Yes, indeed. And, you even mentioned that aspect of real market validation of a potential product or idea or service before it goes into full production or full implementation. That's really very sensible.
Yeah, it's a classic mistake where an excited entrepreneur gets an idea, and they're like, oh my God, this is going to be the next $1 billion thing, and they have and it's just, they haven't told anyone about it. It's just in their mind, right? And then they go out and they spend money, they do this, they do that, they waste months of time, and they could have really just gotten answers of, if they had just taken a couple of days or maybe even weeks to do some research, and asking, talking to real people and for potential customers. And it's a very classic mistake, and there's it's very avoidable, and unfortunately, people make it all the time.
You know, Alex, too, I found that your websites give detailed information on correctly focusing on a good idea regarding product or business choice, product or service creation and development, including possible use of a business mentor and effective marketing strategies. You mentioned that importance of real market validation of a potential product or service. You like the idea of a business mentor, too, if possible.
Yeah, I wish I had one myself when I was starting. It would have saved me months and months of time of just pursuing wrong strategies. And someone who's been there before, with one bit of advice, they can save a lot, save someone a lot of money or a lot of wasted time. It just kind of helps someone and steer them away from pursuing incorrect strategies that won't result to anything good, and kind of steer them towards things that are, that will help them out, So, having a mentor is invaluable. And if people cannot get a good mentor, the next best thing is to really focus on developing your peer network of other entrepreneurs, because sometimes they can help.
That's great advice, Alex. And, I wanted to mention to the audience as well that with your websites, very informative material, I found that the Problemio, I wasn't correctly pronouncing it, PROBLEMIO.com website, you have at least 20 videos for the potential entrepreneur to watch regarding business ideas. That site also offers 23 videos on business planning, business models, and generating revenue, 48 videos on how to promote and market your business, and 20 videos on raising money for one's business, whether through loans, grants, donations, and investment. That's a great site. And, your course site, too, at udemy.com, and make sure I've got the correct URL for that. That has some great material, too. I can't wait to hear that one from the New York lawyer on business law, and you're a software engineer. Boy, you've got one on software engineering, and then other important marketing. Slight sort of tangent on the business field. Great marketing strategy courses, and the courses are very reasonable, which I like.
Yeah, and actually, you touched on the marketing course. It's really my favorite course because because the people who get the marketing stuff, they're the ones who started, right? They aren't stuck in business ideas or, they're hustling, right? So this is actually one of my favorite because I know they've already gone some distance, they've already they already sort of, they're not on step one, they're somewhere along the way, which is good. I actually have on my YouTube channel over 600 videos, and they're all free. And the Udemy courses, they are, some of the premium content, and, of course, but yeah, you're right, they are reasonably priced. I have, mostly it's under $50.
Yes, and, I think that's wonderful for the would-be entrepreneur, and that Problemio, too. Those free videos are godsend. I've already written several. They're a real blessing, because I'm interested in the subject matter as well.
Oh.
Now,
by the way, if your viewers are interested, is there a way to give a coupon discount code or something like that?
That might be an idea, Joe. We can discuss that. That might be a nice idea, I think, because many people are starting their own businesses, particularly in this economy, Alex, where there has been tremendous downsizing, even within the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 months. There have been tremendous layoffs here in America, or shortening of hours. So people are very interested in starting their own business if they can, but of course it has to be responsibly done. And, they have to make sure to pay their own bills at the same time. Alex, that's a good question for you. Are you finding with this economy many people are approaching you regarding a business? You've got some great advice there, too, for the new entrepreneurs starting their own affiliate business.
For me, I think my view is biased because the only people who come to me are ones who want to start a business, right? So, I talk to people who want to start a business every day, but I don't know if that's really, the thing is that I don't talk to anyone else. So of course, from my point of view, of course, like everyone is starting a business that I talk to. Although I don't know if that's really representative of the. I mean, I know generally you're 100% correct in terms of statistics, because like this kind of people have masked the real problems with employment by having this part-time employment increase, but people are struggling to get full-time work, and I'm very aware of that issue that's happening now.
But, Alex, I can't wait to ask you this question. What would be your advice on how to successfully start a mobile app business?
Right. So this is really my sweet spot, because I started with apps, and now probably my deepest expertise is really in apps, and really in making it a business rather than like a trinket or a game, or something that people just use and throw away. And the real and I struggle a little bit, because many people who are not software engineers, they come to me and they're like, well, how can I develop the app? And they often think they have a great idea for some new photo app or a dating app or maybe a social app, because those are or a game. Those are the very popular genres. And the problem is that it usually costs them tens of thousands of dollars to develop the app. If they hire an agency which will give them a very high quality app in the end, I mean, it might cost as much as $50,000. Whereas if they hire a software developer like on something like Odesk or Elance, like a freelance developer, that might cost them like between $10,000 and $20,000. But there's no certainty that the product will be fully functional when it's released or ever released, or there's a lot more risk. And so the problem with apps is it's notoriously difficult to make money from apps. Because probably if I ask you how many things have you bought from your apps, you will say 1 or 0 or less, right? Or not a whole lot, and that's really common. I myself don't like to buy things from apps. There's just a psychological kind of barrier there. Like I feel a little bit strange when I buy things from apps. It's just like I think as consumers we aren't ready on a whole. So as you see, I really would urge caution, because it's a very exciting and possibly very overhyped business niche, but there's significant expenses, and it's not completely easy to promote the app because the mobile app stores are saturated, and it's even if you do promote the app, it's very hard to monetize it. So it's just not a good ecosystem that I would sort of be excited to starting a business in, unless you have some kind of an amazing new, really provocative idea for an app. So hopefully that's not too negative.
And Alex, let me see if this question makes sense, because I'm not certainly an expert in these matters, very far from it, but you are. Alex, let's say a person wants to start their own particular professional service here. Your work can help them learn how to properly use these apps to market and develop their business, correct?
Yeah, and I like this question, because many people who do kind of get my coaching, they usually have some kind of a service they want to provide and sell, and it's usually categorized as a local service, like something, like handyman or lawn care or something, or maybe tax, maybe accounting or something like that, where it's local service. And there's a very clear way to promote local services, and it's something that I have a course on this. I coach people through this, and it's something that's very doable. Whereas, my answer to your apps question was like, oh God, the costs are so much, and the outcome is uncertain. Whereas for promoting local services, or any kind of services actually, it's far better. It's far better because it's a real proven business, and there's demand for services, right? I mean, almost across the board. Whether it's web design, whether it's lawn care. I mean, that's why these are such popular common businesses, is that they're proven, and that's what I like about them. Whereas whereas the apps aren't proven, right? It's a completely innovative space, and there's no one's guaranteeing that people will actually like an app. So There's some paradigm, they're very different types of business ideas. So the services are more proven business. A lot of risk is taken out. I mean, there's less growth, right? There isn't the potential for that astronomical growth, but the risk is taken out. Whereas the apps, it's all innovative, potential for growth, but a ton of risk.
Boy, that's intriguing. Now, Alex, for example, how would iOS, Android, and Kindle be so helpful to the mobile app business, or to any business, use of the iOS or Android or Kindle?
Well, there are many apps that help businesses, starting from just organizing your to-do lists to project management to productivity apps. My specific apps, they help in 3 distinct ways. Number one, I have a ton of tutorials that are taken right from the entrepreneurs who came before, right? So if you want to know about business ideas, I have a bunch of tutorials on the apps, and you can consume the tutorials and read them. There is also people can write little business plans, little marketing plans, and sort of organize their ideas. That's also available in the apps. And then as a premium feature, anyone can actually get personal live help from me through chat, and that's the other. So you kind of get personal coaching through chat, which is no other app offers that. And it's when else do you get like a person who's really done this before helping you on the app with business? There's no other app like that. And the price for that is like minuscule. I really reduce the price as much as possible.
Alex, I have a quick question. Are there any regulatory ordinances or anything of that nature that control? Because it seems like, you remember the .com that was, I guess back in the 80s maybe, and it just like spiraled, just spiraled. And this seems like to be one of these, you app this, you have an app for that. There are just so many that I guess the baby boomers, like myself, are just overwhelmed with, the versatility. Do you have any suggestions on, like something for dummies? For dummies.
I think there aren't apps for dummies that I recommend, but I recommend maybe a way to approach them, because look at each app. As a way not to kind of make you feel overwhelmed, but as something that can actually help you. So, let's say something like Twitter is a classic example. I know it's not an app originally, but people are like, why do I need this Twitter? Oh my God, it's going to complicate my life. There's too many websites. There's that way to look at it, which will not really help you. But there's the other way to look at it, which is like, just don't be afraid, play around with it, right? And then that's the key, try to have fun, play around with it. It's a lot of these things are useful, but they're also kind of fun, and you might discover just new utilities. So don't get into that overwhelmed state of mind. Just be open. If you don't like it, you can just delete it. It's okay. They're not like going to ruin your life, right? It's not. There's no viruses. Mostly it's legitimate things that are actually going to help you once you start tinkering and playing with them. So just kind of don't. I think my advice would be really to not let it overwhelm you. Try to just see it as a more of a fun experience of discovery, maybe.
Mhm. So, but you have to report anything at the end of the year to the government? Are there agencies that regulate, how they can be used, or, in other words, are there any guidelines that one needs to be aware of?
No, just pretty much. There is the FCC, but they have minimal. They have extremely minimal say in things. The only thing is sometimes when apps try to sell you something, they must like if they say, let's say they're advertising something and it's not clear what they're selling, or they must explicitly say, like, if something is a sponsored listing, right? If there's a business relationship there that they're promoting, they must say it. And they don't always say it. Because it's a very unenforced rule. But again, I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you're new to it, just don't press the buy button, right? But I think do maybe stick to the big apps, the reputable ones, and just don't worry about the negatives that might come of it, because that's the kind of thing that, while it's prudent to worry about the negatives, it can kind of like cause you to maybe not explore things fully and not get if you kind of steer on the side of caution, you may not end up getting the most benefit and not exploring things fully. So I'd really just recommend a little bit of a mindset shift where you just be open to it, and soon you'll find yourself like a teenager. You'll be tapping around, clicking all the buttons on the apps, and you'll be fluent and then impressing everyone. It really shouldn't be that complicated, because apps, people make a big deal about apps, but if you think about it, it's just little pieces of software, nothing else. Just like you have software on your computer.
Great.
Okay.
Intriguing.
Indeed it is for now. And great question. Alex, you indicate that factor of a business going viral with its strategy in business, and you mentioned Facebook and Twitter as being useful tools for business development. And I can't wait you had referenced something I thought was fascinating. How can one create the most viral types of tweets?
Right. So there's been a lot of research in this. And okay, so I'll tell you right now, in the next 5 minutes, I'll tell you how to increase your percentage of your retweets by hundreds of %. And it's really simple. So first of all, and I'm going to go step by step. First of all, even though 140 characters, don't use all of them. Use maybe between 100 characters or like 110. That seems to be the sweet spot, maybe 120. The reason for that is when your tweet has more white space, when there's less text, when people kind of skim with their eyes all the tweets, and your tweet is shorter, it's easier to read, they'll stop on your tweet because it's easier to consume. So you'll get immediate increase in engagement. The other thing you want to do is you want to use hashtags. The ideal number of hashtags is 1 or 2, no more than 2. After 2, people start to see your tweet as more spammy. So 2 hashtags is ideal. Hashtags will allow people to discover your app through like search and things like that, and you'll get a lot of, not a lot, but you'll get a bump in retweets, things like that. The other thing you want to do is the structure of the tweet. Usually I like to do a couple of words, link, if there's a link, and at the end, hashtags. That is, research shows that this is the most sort of like people engage with that format the most. Also, you want to make sure that your headline, the text you add, is really enticing. The way to write headlines, of course, is if things are newsy, right? If things are, or they seem new, or if things generate intrigue, like, did you know what Kim Kardashian did today? Like, nobody cares, but they still click on it, right? Because they kind of want to know. So things that are more intriguing, and if you can use figures or percentages in your tweets, it makes your tweets seem it's more researched, and therefore people will kind of engage with it a little bit more. They'll pay a little bit more attention. And there's actually a ton more of these. These are just the things I'm remembering from the top of my head. And when you combine all these, and I have my Twitter course, of course, and some of these tips are scattered throughout my YouTube channel as well. But if you find all the videos either scattered on the YouTube channel or on my Twitter course, it will help you increase retweets by hundreds of %. Now, keep in mind, when I say hundreds of %, if you currently have maybe like nobody retweeting, it's very easy to achieve, right? So in my case, I have like something like 700 people, and I actually, with these strategies, I do see 100% increase in retweets and favorites of my tweets. So this stuff really works.
Excellent. You have some wonderful courses too and material on using Facebook to develop your business, and they all seem very, very useful.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So when I talk to people who are small business owners, they're usually people are extremely good at doing their particular task. Like if they're an accountant, they're like really good at it, or lawn care, they're good at it. But they usually aren't as good at marketing. And usually what happens is, and see if you've heard this before, or maybe, you've come across this. When you ask people how are you going to promote your business, they say they almost to the T repeat this quote. They say, "I'm going to promote my business on Facebook, Twitter, business cards, and flyers." And see if you ever heard that people say that. And see, Facebook is like the first thing people think of. I mean, those four things usually are the things that they think of, but Facebook's like number one. But imagine if everybody was like, everyone's on Facebook, right? And Facebook doesn't want like a free-for-all spam factory, everybody promoting things to everybody else, because they want. So Facebook severely limits potential of free marketing to the point of they recently come out with news that if you're posting a promotional message, their algorithm decides to whom is going to show your message, and it usually shows it to as little as 1% of the people who liked your Facebook group or something like that. So it's actually free Facebook marketing is extremely challenging now, because Facebook wants people to use their paid advertising, because that's how they make money. And also, there's a quality issue, because if everybody is going to be, if there's a free-for-all in promoting everybody's product, it's just going to be a mess. So Facebook, it's a very challenging platform. Personally, I steer people away from Facebook in terms of getting clients, things like that, when it comes to free marketing. For paid advertising, it's a different story, but most people ask about the free options first. So there are far better platforms on which to get traffic to your brand or your site. Like almost anything else, YouTube, SEO from Google, and plenty of good other social sites that will get you traffic.
Yes, you're an expert there as well on finding growth with SEO with some great tips there.
Yeah, in fact, I grew my business almost entirely not just SEO, but like SEO strategies, because SEO, people think about SEO as something from Google, and when I say something like non-Google SEO, they think, what are you talking about, Bing or Yahoo? And no, because Bing and Yahoo, they are irrelevant now, pretty much. But there are plenty of other search engines that people don't think of them as search engines, like YouTube, like Amazon, like Yelp, like plenty other sites that are social, but also have a big search component, and a lot of the discovery happens through search, right? Like, what do you do when you're looking for your favorite movie? You kind of go on YouTube and you search, right? Or just some clips. You kind of go and you search, right? That's largely how the content gets discovered. So yeah, in my books and in my courses, I talk a lot about SEO on other platforms that are not just Google, because Google is extremely difficult now, because everyone wants to rank their website in Google. So it's another one of those very, very crowded websites, and there's just other search engines are just so much simpler to get your products to rank in.
That's excellent information. Now, Alex, I know your material contains a great deal of information on helping entrepreneurs overcome the most common issues they face when starting a business. And I wanted to also, again, mention the excellence of your site. You have several of them that were already mentioned, but now, for example, the one that is, let me see here. So much information here. Let's see. Please pardon me. GlowingStar.com. I really appreciate that information. GlowingStar, GLOWINGSJRT.com, and your YouTube channel too. A YouTube channel, an easy way for our listeners to remember that, youtube.com/user/OKUDJAVAVICH. If they just type in Alex Gnadinic and YouTube, does that YouTube channel come right up?
Actually, I'll tell you a really easy way to get to my YouTube channel, because I know the URL there is complicated. If you just go, if you go to problemio.com/, it automatically redirects you to my YouTube channel.
Excellent. That would be very helpful. And again, would there be a direct link as well to your online course site, www.udemy.com. Great material there. Now, we have probably about 3 minutes to discuss something here, and that is your great concepts on fundraising for your business, the different ways, loans, grant, donation, bootstrapping. That interested me too, the fact that you think that many people should consider that bootstrapping option.
Yeah, many first-time entrepreneurs, when they start a business, their immediate questions, which arise from the general novice, they're kind of like, oh, can I get a grant? Maybe can I get now the popular thing is like crowdfunding, and it's basically free money. People are like, they want free money so they can start, and they don't start until they get it. And that's just the wrong approach, right? Because, if you want to make it happen, you better figure out how to make it happen. And don't wait for anybody to come along, because they won't. And that's really the attitude that entrepreneurs, I really encourage entrepreneurs to really have that attitude of making it happen rather than waiting or, giving excuses why, oh, I don't have the money, oh, I don't have the resources, I don't have the time. No, you have everything if you put if you're resourceful enough. And the whole concept of bootstrapping is about finding ways, being resourceful. Like, yes, you're an underdog, and yes, it's challenging, and it's very, very hard, but it's for many people, it's the only way to go, because they're never going to, most people don't end up raising money. And, for a variety of reasons. You just got to find how to do things cheaply and make it happen. And that's part of being an entrepreneur, because that mentality will never end. You might get some money, but then you'll always have challenges. And it's just a matter of finding ways, whatever they might be, to overcome any challenge. And that's kind of how entrepreneurship is.
Alex, I have one final question. I know Vernell, too, will have final comments. You mentioned that someone can start a business without a business degree or experience, but that person should educate himself on the business matter, and also on the matter of having one's business, and also benefit from the advice of a mentor or consultant. And, I would think the materials at your websites provide excellent sources for the individual to educate himself on business matters, strategies, so forth.
Way to kind of get that knowledge, because all the courses, the YouTube, the content, it's all based on entrepreneurs who have come, who are just like the entrepreneurs that are going to have these questions tomorrow. It's based on entrepreneurs who had the same identical questions yesterday, and that's why it's very practical for people, because it comes from real people.
Excellent. Well, Alex, I've really enjoyed this session. I know there's going to be a second part to this interview, and we'll discuss just when that's going to be taped or broadcast live either. And before we leave, Vernell, do you have any final comments? And I just want to thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this first session. It's been a very informative discussion. Vernell?
Oh,
well,
thank you.
I agree with Patricia.
Yes, dear. Yes, Vernell, we're online.
Completely. And did you have anything you want to say or shout out to anyone special? And we certainly look forward to you being our guest again.
Well, I mean, if anybody wants to contact me, I like hearing from people. It's alex@problemio.com, or people can say hi to me on Twitter. I'm at my last name. And so I always like hearing from people, and I look forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alex. Very much appreciate your time and that information, extremely useful. Also, thank you for our listeners for joining us this evening. There will be a second portion to this interview, and that now this particular part one of the interview will be broadcast at our normal time, Global Newsmaker Focus, 11 p.m. Eastern this Saturday, right after that very popular show, News on the Flip Side, with Joe Montaldo and Stephanie Benetti. There will be a second as well segment, and perhaps more, because I really am appreciating that material, including the videos. So thank you so much, Alex. Great discussion. Thank you, my Vernell. And I guess now we'll be listening to the Joe Montaldo show within about 2 or 3 minutes. So thank you so much, Alex and Vernell. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you for having me.
Good night.
Night.